What's going on, fellow nerds? Welcome to another Not Your Status Quo What's Next? Coming here live from the press room here at Sprite Park. And that's right, that means that we're sponsored once again by our delicious, mouth-watering drink, Sprite.
Okay, the promotional sign is up above. Read it carefully.
Quench that thirst, baby.
Today on What's Next, we're going to be talking about what's coming up next for Spider-Man after No Way Home, and also what's going on with the rest of the MCU after this last movie.
Well, I'll tell you right now, they can go any direction they want to. They did such a good job with this movie. I think it hit on all cylinders. It's like almost like a, you know how Star Trek had to reboot without rebooting it.
What is this? What's going on?
Armed photons, prepare to fire on the Klingon warbirds.
Yes, sir. Jim, their shields are still up.
Are they?
No, they're not.
Fire on all enemy ships. 1 photon each should do. Let's not waste ammunition.
Target locked and acquired on all warbirds. Firing.
All ships destroyed, Captain.
Begin rescue of the stranded crew.
They did this. They could go anywhere with any of those characters. It's amazing.
I think they thank you for your permission that they can go in any direction that they want. They were unsure.
I'm just yelling out possibilities. I'm not giving permission. They got to come to me first, okay?
They do, as we know. We have to sign off on all MCU Spider-Man related things.
Yes.
After Sony mucked it up so many times.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're not just going to speak in generalities. We're not going to say a bunch of things can happen. We're going to narrow that down.
I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe.
And I think we should start with the Venom post-credit scene.
Hey, maybe I should go to New York and speak to this, Spider-Man.
We are drunk.
Because we know Tom Hardy and that Venom were pulled back out, but a little piece of him is left behind. And I was a little hesitant if I liked this at first, because I was like, I really wanted to see Tom Holland and Tom Hardy battle, but I kind of like where this is going because this is not already Venom. This suit can go bond with Peter Parker and have that whole scene, and I like it because
The
of one
story that they should have had from the beginning, where the symbiote actually connects with Peter Parker, gives him the black suit, all of that. The Venom story that we know, not the one from Spider-Man 3, the movie that didn't happen.
I was gonna say, what, Spider-Man 3.
Where'd the Sandman come from then?
But what I like about this is how they've done it. The more I thought about it, this Spider-Man in the MCU has known Stark Tech and had powerful friends that have always helped him. We've seen Iron Man help him in, Spider-Man Homecoming.
I did listen, kid.
Who do you think called the FBI, huh?
He had Nick Fury in Spider-Man Far From Home.
So good to finally meet you. I saw you at the funeral, but I didn't think that was a good time to exchange numbers.
Doctor Strange in No Way Home.
I'm sorry to bother you, sir.
Please, we saved half the universe together. I think we're beyond you calling me sir.
Okay, Steven.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
He's on his own now. No one knows who Peter Parker is.
What if that is the title? Spider-Man on his own.
It does rhyme with Far From Home.
And they did say that this is the end of the Home trilogy, so they could be starting a new titling sequence.
And I like it because at some point, he is going to need that extra bit of power, and he's not going to have those powerful friends to go to.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
So he will turn to something like the black suit Spider-Man symbiote because he doesn't know any better. And we're going to get that whole, like Doug said, we're going to get that Venom story where he puts it on, he feels great because he's so much more powerful.
Whoa! Unbelievable! I almost overshot the whole roof. I never could jump like that before. My webbing. It's shooting out on its own.
He's going too low. Call for backup on the street. There he is!
What am I doing? Defending myself, that's what.
It's going to help him do good before he realizes, I have to get this thing off of me. This isn't what I thought it was. And then it can bond with Eddie Brock or Flash Thompson or the Scorpion, any of the people that it has been bonded with in the comics. They could go that route. And now we got what we all wanted.
So that's actually what I think is going to happen next. I believe that rather than going in the direction of introducing another universe as Eddie Brock, I think they're going to go with the Flash Thompson route. And here's why. Just in the sort of comedic turn of events that happens in these Spider-Man movies, I think that this version of Flash Thompson is going to be the first one who pieces together that Peter Parker is Spider-Man after the reveal from the movie. And I think it's going to just really grate on Peter, like, no, I really wanted it to be MJ, I wanted it to be Ned, I wanted it to be one of my actual friends. Why did it have to be Flash? And once Flash ends up getting the symbiote and becoming part of, the Spider Team or whatever, he's gonna have to, he's gonna have to work with Flash, this guy that they just clash constantly. They do not get along, and it's gonna be hilarious just to be like, it's my old pal Peter Parker. I've known him for years. We're best buds.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What? He's just awesome, okay? He protects the neighborhood and, he's inspiring. He inspires me to be a better man. Sup, dickwad? Thought you drowned.
I'm really disappointed that Tom Hardy is not going to be our Venom in the MCU.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying that it won't happen. I think it's unlikely. I think Sony's going to want to keep that separate. And they've established that Tom Hardy is the Eddie Brock and the Venom of its own separate universe.
Yeah, he's more lethal protector instead of the thing. I'm with you. I think it would be awesome to see Tom Hardy be a variant of the Tom Hardy from the Venomverse.
But I also don't think they want to confuse things.
No.
And that's what I think they might work
I agree. I just think it would be awesome to do.
Yeah.
But I do think we're going to see it to Flash Thompson or the Scorpion. I think the Scorpion is a very likely candidate because we saw he still wants to kill Spider-Man. He never knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. So he could get that symbiote after it's on Peter. And what is the first thing that Venom did when it got with Eddie Brock? Spider-Man, Peter Parker. So then Scorpion will know, and it's going to be... I do think Spider-Man will beat Scorpion at some point, and then it'll bond after that. But please, Marvel, MCU, Kevin Feige, don't rush it. We don't need another Dark Phoenix saga. We don't need another Spider-Man 3, which Dave says exists. Sandman was in it. I don't...
Yeah,
but don't rush
I also don't have memories of this either.
Build up to it slowly. Do what you always do. Make it great.
This would be one of those where if you announced that you were splitting it into two movies, I'd be like, that's probably a good idea. The first half being, Black Suit Spider-Man. The second half, now him having to fight Venom, having learned all of Spider-Man's abilities and everything. I'd say a good way that they did this, and I know that I constantly bring up the 90s Spider-Man cartoon show, but they actually told the Black Suit Spider-Man story really, really well. And the scene where Peter Parker is hanging upside down staring into the glass window of that building, that in that movie that we said didn't exist, that's where they pulled that scene from.
Yeah.
Actually. And so yeah, in the cartoon they told it really well. Yes, it was spread over like 3 or 4 episodes, but I mean, they took their time with it, and I feel like that's what a movie would have to do. Not cram it all in, along with other villains. Not that they would ever do that in a movie.
But I also, before we get that bonding, because it's like in San Francisco or Mexico, so it's going to take some time to get to New York.
I think it's in Mexico.
Yeah. That red and blue costume at the end of No Way Home was great. I want to see that. I want to see more street-level team-ups.
Yeah.
Like with that lawyer that was in his place in No Way Home.
Yeah, who was that guy? He was a really good lawyer.
Yeah, he was a good lawyer. And he
was really quick.
Yeah. It was...
Peter, you may have dodged your legal troubles, but things will get much worse. There is still a court of public opinion. How did you just do that? I'm a really good lawyer.
But, I mean, I would love to see him teaming up with Daredevil. Maybe to fight, Scorpion. Or any of the other. We've seen it with Iron Man. We've seen it with Doctor Strange. We've seen it with Nick Fury. It's time to get away from that. It's time to get away, get back to the more street-level Spider-Man, since no one knows who Peter Parker is anymore.
That would mean they could, well, I don't know. This is a prediction following the TV show of Hawkeye, because I don't think that Wilson Fisk met his end at the end of that show.
Oh, no way.
So he could even be brought in to the movies. He could even be brought in for a, like those three in a movie would be an excellent movie.
I do think we'll see Wilson Fisk in that Echo series on Disney Plus. There's no way he met his end.
No way.
We didn't see a body.
I'm sure my briefly a quick theory, she just shot at him over the shoulder just to scare him. Like, here's what it's like to be deaf or something like that, and she walks away. That's my guess.
I think that'd be fine. Also, a lot of people are saying that there's no way that Wilson Fisk could have survived getting shot that many times or getting shot with those arrows. I'm sorry, did you not watch our In Focus on Wilson Fisk? Because I'm pretty sure we talked about how, yes, he definitely could survive that. And if you haven't watched it, check it out now.
And then next, who is going to be the next villain? We've talked about a few villains. Who do you guys think is going to be?
We mentioned Scorpion so far.
But I think it's going to be Kraven the Hunter.
I could see that. They did kind of reference it towards the end of.
I think he was in some of that multiverse that was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, his silhouette.
It looked like it, yes.
Yeah, so they have to be hinting towards that character.
Which I think would be perfect. We haven't seen him on screen yet. It would be a very individual story. It's just Kraven hunting Spider-Man.
Yep.
None of the Avengers get involved. No one else.
Very
it could
street
just
level.
be, very street level.
I mean, I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, sir.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
And he would obviously want to hunt the human spider.
And the fun thing about Kraven is he's not always depicted as just a straight up villain. He's usually like this, he can be like a mix. Sometimes he can be an anti-hero, sometimes he can be like a villain-ish. He can be kind of like chaotic neutral in a way. Sometimes he can team up with Spider-Man to help fight a greater threat. So yeah, there's a lot of things that if they were to introduce Kraven as the next Spider-Man villain, it's a lot that they could do with him going forward. It's a lot like Morbius in a way. And I would, honestly, I don't know what universe that movie is going to lie into, but I would absolutely love to see Morbius team up with Spider-Man as well.
I think Morbius is in the Venomverse, right? In the Sony side.
See, I don't know.
But he
It's
says,
hard to say.
we are Venom. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Right. Dr. Michael Morbius.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
Exactly. So yeah, it's hard to say like which universe that's really in.
What was Michael Keaton's character's name?
Adrian Toomes.
Adrian Toomes. He also no longer remembers who Spider-Man is.
Absolutely.
So that preview of Morbius when he's walking out the door, he said, I need to keep in touch with you.
Hey, Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch.
It's not because he knows who Spider-Man is and he wants Morbius to help
But
him.
also now he's from the Spider-Man universe, not from the Venom universe.
He could be a variant in the Venom universe.
Could be.
Talk about Adrian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's so confusing to know what universe Morbius is in.
And you know they mentioned Miles, not directly, but Miles Morales like several times over the last couple of Spider-Man movies that you think he's going to make an appearance in the live action.
Well, we saw Donald Glover in Homecoming, who is
he
the
mentions
Prowler.
his
Hate this dude, man. Yeah, sorry, Miles. I'm not gonna make it. Yeah, I'm just stuck.
Mentions his nephew.
Yep.
So yeah, he's coming. I don't know when it is. Hopefully, it'll be one of Peter Parker's new buddies. Since his other buddy's going to be at MIT, and we're probably not going to see MJ and Ned so much.
Jamie Foxx. I always thought you were black. Oh, I'm sorry.
Helping out all the
You're in
poor.
Queens, you're helping out the poor people, yeah. So that's a perfect segue because that leads into not a theory for the next movie per se, but this is something that we spoke about, I want to say prior to when we were doing our trailer breakdown, I believe, of Spider-Man. One of the things that Tom Holland had said in an interview, and in case you guys were unaware, at least as of the latest Spider-Man movie, him and Zendaya were dating, and he had said on multiple occasions in interviews that he would be perfectly happy at this point in his life if he just gave up acting. He even commented at one point and said, yeah, I could just go off and be a carpenter or something and I'd be perfectly happy that, I want to stay out of the public spotlight and everything. So, if they were going to transition into a new Spider-Man, like Miles Morales, this would be a good opportunity to do it. So, What is left in the contract for the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man?
I think he just signed for 3 more movies.
I think he just signed for 3 more movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
Oh, for 3 more full movies?
3 more Spider-Man movies, yeah.
Yeah, 3 full movies and then at least 1 or 2 MCU cameos.
All right.
But I like that theory because once again, we've talked about how Marvel slow burns everything.
Yes.
They're not just gonna, okay, Peter Parker's gone, here's Miles Morales. I think we're gonna see Peter Parker kind of start coming, you know, back into the forefront, people's memories a little bit, and Miles is gonna get his powers. And maybe at the end of this trilogy, maybe even another trilogy with Peter Parker. Peter Parker's gonna die saving Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna take over the mantle, and we're gonna see him because obviously the MCU isn't like the comics, where the same person is gonna be that character forever. So we may see 5 or 6 years down the road, we'll be introduced to Miles probably the next trilogy, but he is going to take over as the full-time MCU Spider-Man.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
as
and
long
he's
as
going
they
to
don't...
need to be, by the time he takes over, he's going to need to be young.
Yeah.
Because how old is Tom Holland going to be at the end? He's going to be in his mid-30s by the time, you know, we're done here. Even though he looks young, he's still, he's like 25 right now.
Yeah.
And now we need to talk about that wonderful post-credit scene from Hawkeye.
Something strange in the air.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, I'm just kidding. What we should have gotten as a post-credit scene in Hawkeye, one of the things we had talked about is the swordsman, Jack, kind of getting something. And we saw him in that finale. He was a hero.
Jack!
Hello, sweetie.
Behind you! Jack, I am so sorry my mom got you put in jail. Are you okay?
Never been better. Oh, no!
I think we are going to see him at some point be recruited by Val, like we've talked about before, and join that Avengers team. And I think that's another person that'll have on that team that she may wanting them to do nefarious things. And he's going to be the one that kind of breaks away. We're going to see whether it's Yelena or Jack start breaking away, like going, whoa, what are we actually doing here? And I think with how they set him up, once again, they didn't rush it. We should have seen it in the post-credit scene, but instead we got whatever we got. But they could still build on that. I don't know when they're going to work in more with Val, because we're not going to see anything in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. She is also not going to show up in Thor: Love and Thunder. You know, we got Wakanda Forever, November 11th. There's maybe a possibility there, but I think we may see her in some of these Disney Plus shows coming up. Maybe not Moon Knight, but She-Hulk.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
So that story's building up slowly. Surely, are they going to be a part of whatever's coming with Secret Invasion? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this because they've kept it on such a slow burn for so long. She's got U.S. Agent. We haven't seen him since Falcon and Winter Soldier. She's got Black Widow. We saw Yelena here, but it wasn't necessarily doing work for Val as far as we know. So there's a lot going on and a lot to build to, but I think, you know, next we're going to see more, outside of the multiverse, we're going to see more of the Skrulls and Secret Invasion with Captain Marvel.
They do have to lead up into that. And we did get confirmation from Spider-Man that Nick Fury has been off-world
for last year.
Preparing for a Secret Invasion, I think.
Yep. And I think that was definitely the lead that they're going to use to build into that. And maybe Val is working for Nick Fury at this point and getting some secret warriors together to help root out who actually is a Skrull.
Working for Nick Fury.
Well, I mean, we've alluded to no such thing, but I wanted to say I did that in focus on the Swordsman, and I called him a supervillain. And you know, I don't think he's really a supervillain. Everything I mentioned in that video was good things, and what he did at the end of this show completely surprised me. I thought he was he was the CEO, but when it turns out he wasn't. And then at the end, where the LARPer is hitting on him, and he says, "Oh, got some blood on my tie." Balls.
Not balls. I think I got some blood on my tie.
That's what he said. Balls. That guy cracked me up. I'm like, that guy is a good guy.
I could see more of him.
I can see your theory being right. Like him being recruited, but then pulling back and say, wait a minute. I'm not a bad guy. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah, this is not what you told us it was going to be. You told us we were going to be basically the next Avengers, and this is not what we are.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dave. I cannot think of any other instance where the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or now the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, has ever taken a well-established character and done something completely different. That has not happened.
No.
No.
But I do think probably in one, maybe in, I'm going to guess She-Hulk. We are going to see Ralph Boner get recruited by Val, and he will turn out to be Pietro Quicksilver, the first person to come over from the multiverse.
You're Ralph Boner?
Boner.
I don't want to
speak of this.
I don't want to reel that in. I don't want to, because he's got to be somebody. You can't. The witch cannot. I mean, Agatha cannot give somebody super speed.
You're not going to reel it in, because before you even get a chance to, I'm pulling out the shotgun and I'm shooting it in the lake. Okay, it's going to be dead. It's going to float to the top. That's it. No,
That's how Dogfish is
They
supposed-
told a boner joke, and you know that's all they did, and they had their laugh at my expense after I spent time, blood, sweat, and tears cultivating a theory.
Mephisto!
And I get a boner joke.
Just remember, mark this on your boards at home, people. Doug is going to owe me an apology after Ralph Boner turns out to be Pietro Quicksilver, and Sharon Carter is a Skrull.
You will now begin an apology tour, during which the people will vote on whether or not they believe your sincerity.
Mark it down, people. Put in the comments below how you would like that apology from Doug to me.
But that's what we think is next. What do you guys think is next? Make sure that you leave it down in the comments below. Add us at Twitter, and we'll see you right here next time on Not Your Status Quo.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.